I'm here for another haul. I really was hoping that I wouldn't have to do another one of these so soon, but alas, Book Outlet exists, and I did a thing and made an order on Book Outlet. But I will also be pairing this. So the last one that I did, I also paired with an unhaul. I'll be doing the same because I actually went through my shelves again and really was focusing on picking out, maybe not exactly the same number that I was bringing in, but I really focused on some that I thought that I could part with. So I will be pairing it with an unhaul. I'm going to film that one later because there are still a couple of books that I want to listen to the next in this series or the last one in the series to kind of see if I want to keep the physical book of the first in those series on my shelf. So I'm going to wait to listen to those before I film that unhaul and kind of finish that up. But an unhaul is coming to help compensate for the ones that I'm bringing in. So let's just jump right in. So I already actually previously had hauled the first book in the series, The Invisible Library, but I noticed that books 2, 3, and 4 were on Book Outlet. So I got books 2, 3, and 4. So, oops. I don't know too much about this series. I'll just hold up the first one. I don't know too much about this series, but I've heard some fantastic things, and I know that it involves professional spies for a mysterious library, and that is literally all I needed to know. And based on that and what I have heard from people who have similar book taste to me, I have a gut feeling that I'm gonna love this series so much and want to be able to binge it. And so I have a good start to being able to binge it, and I'm hoping to binge it this spring. So we'll see. We'll see if I regret that decision. So I also got a Adren of Light. There actually was one copy of this that came on Book Outlet, and so I had to add that to my order to snag that up. And I've actually already read this. We'll listen to the audiobook and loved it. And this is the third and final book in the Darker Shade of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. I've talked a lot about this series recently as I've been reading it, and we'll talk about it more when I wrap up this lovely book. But yeah, I freaking love this series, and so I'm really, really glad that I have a physical copy of the third one. I just need to find a physical copy of the second one to have the complete set. And so when I do inevitably reread this series, I just need to find a copy of the second one at some point. I'll probably just, once again, just kind of keep my eye on it on Book Outlet and, you know, probably do that route as well. Yeah, so next, I actually already had a copy of A Study in Charlotte, but I found, so the theme of this Book Outlet order was getting more books in series, some of which I started and some of which I have not. But I got the second and third books to that series by Brittany Cavallaro, and this one follows the descendants of Sherlock and Watson, and Charlotte Holmes is Sherlock's descendant, and Jamie Watson is Watson's descendant, and I think it's in present day. They go to school and solve mysteries, I assume. I've heard nothing but fantastic things about this series, and especially from people who have similar taste to me, as I said before. So I will probably be doing these in the fall. So this was one of the ones on my list from last fall that I was like, I'm gonna read this in the fall. Didn't happen. So I'm hoping that I can read these this fall, or maybe sooner if I just feel compelled to read them sooner. But I at least now have the second and third one from those series. And that way, again, I can at least start to binge it. So I also noticed that they had the book that followed, A Conspiracy of Stars by Olivia A. Cole. I read this one, summer of last year, I want to say, and I noticed that they had the second book in that series. I don't know if it's a duology or if there's actually more in the series that's going to be published, but they at least had the next one if it's not the final one. But they have An Anatomy of Beasts by Olivia A. Cole. And I enjoyed the first one, and it wasn't anything that I was like gonna jump out and immediately go and spend full price on the second one. But if it's on Book Outlet, I really enjoyed it enough to kind of pick up the second one, and I'm definitely intrigued to kind of follow the storyline. And that one followed a group of humans who crash landed or emergency landed on another world. They kind of set up a colony there, and kind of had worked with the other species on this planet to kind of set aside an area that they, were allowed to kind of live and study the world. And it follows them kind of after they've established that colony, and there's some stuff going on between the humans and some of these other species that, some young, I think they're like 16-ish years old students who are going through kind of an internship program to be scientists in this world. And they start to figure out some stuff that's going on between how the leaders of this group are relating to these other species in a not good way. And so they decide to investigate and figure out what's going on. And this is the continuation of that. So I'm actually really excited to continue in that series. The final book from that Book Outlet order is The Hive by Orson Scott Card. So this is the second book in the series that he and Aaron Johnston have about the second Formic Wars. So I've read almost everything in the Ender's Game universe. I read the 3 books about the first Formic War, and I have the first book about the second Formic War that kind of went back to kind of write books about that history that takes place before Ender's Game. And so I have the first book in this series. I think it's going to be 3 books about the second Formic War. And so, I haven't started this particular trilogy, but I know I love this world, and I've loved these books, and so, I have every confidence that I'm probably going to enjoy this series, so I went ahead and picked up the second one while I was making a Book Outlet order. So, the last 4 books on this haul are ones that I either got through Fairy Loot, got myself, or traded in. So the last unhaul that I did, I took those books to a used bookstore and got some in-store credit to get a different book. So we'll start with the one that I actually just straight up purchased myself, and that is Arcanium Unbounded by Brandon Sanderson, or Arcanum Unbounded by Brandon Sanderson. Doing the Cosmere Long, and I'm reading Elantris right now, and the live show will also include some short stories from this collection, and I just want to read this collection anyway, so I went ahead and picked this up so that I would be able to read those collections, or those short stories from this collection for the live show. For the Fairy Loot books, I have The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. This was the one in the most recent February Fairy Loot box, and this one follows a woman who's kind of tired of being overlooked, and she decides that she wants to marry the Shadow King, woo him, marry him, murder him, and then take his land, take his political power. And but in order to do that, he has to live long enough for her to actually be able to woo him and marry him. And so she has to protect him to some degree so that other people can't kill him first, so that she can actually go through with the marriage and then kill him herself. And so I'm just intrigued. I think this is going to be a great time. So I'm really excited to read this one. And this is the Fairy Loot edition, so I think this purple is actually a maroon red in the original cover. I really like the purple though, it's so pretty. And they've got really cool art on the reverse of the dust jacket. Let's see if I can get that in frame, kind of, sort of. So pretty. So I also have Woven in Moonlight by Isabella Banez. This one I'm also hopefully going to read this month. This one's on my radar for very soon. This one follows Jimena. I think that's her name. I think her name is Jimena. And she's the decoy Contessa. And at one point she needs to engage in a political marriage, and that involves a whole bunch of other larger stuff going on. And she also has the power to weave things from Moonlight, and that magic is also part of her needing to protect her Contessa and protect her people. And I don't know, I'm intrigued. I think this one's gonna be a lot of fun, and kind of based in Bolivian history and politics, which is super cool. And this one, so this gray is black in the normal cover, but again, this is a very limited edition. And once again, freaking how stunning is this artwork on the reverse side of the dust jacket. Love it, love it. Okay, so last book in this haul is one that I traded all of those books for in the last unhaul I did. I'll be sure to link that below. And I was able to get enough store credit to get Dominicana by Angie Cruz. This one is, I believe, a historical fiction that follows, I believe it is inspired by the author's mother and her life story, if I'm not mistaken. So it follows Ana, who grew up in the Dominican countryside. I believe she agrees to marry someone in order to kind of move to the US for a better life. And I don't think that marriage is going well, but I think she ends up falling in love with her husband's brother or something. I've just heard this is a really interesting and well-written, very emotional story about immigration and family and love, and I've heard that it's amazing. So I'm very excited to read this one, hopefully this summer. But yeah, so those are the books that I have acquired recently. And yeah, there's also going to be a library book sale at the end of this month. So at my local library, they have one twice a year, and I let myself go to those 2 a year and try to call it good on library book sales, because their library book sale is so amazing, and I come away with like 15 to 20 books each time. So I'm gonna try to control myself, but that's coming at the end of March. So I make no promises about not having another haul in April that comes from that library book sale. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll be able to once again kind of cull through my shelves and see if there's anything else I might be willing to donate. But there will be, as I said, an unhaul coming before too long to help compensate for all of this. At least help. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have read any of these and what your thoughts were. But I'm so excited to read all of these, and I'll be sure to link Twitter and Instagram down below. That's where I like to hang out. Be sure to subscribe for more bookish content, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.